Okay, here's what's up. I am going to, how do I start this? Okay. So I read a lot about vermicomposting and I just did it completely wrong. I did it wrong on purpose. Essentially, you want to have 2 containers, one larger one and then one inside. You poke holes out of the hell of the one on the inside and on the top of the lid, so that essentially what happens is you can harvest compost tea. I'm really hopeful that you don't actually have to do that, because what I'm trying to do is find a way to keep worms in my kitchen. I don't know what kind of kitchens other people have, but from what I was looking at online, like those bins look pretty big and I don't know how they could fit under someone's kitchen sink. And to be honest, I don't want to share that much space in my house with worms. So what I did was I took the coffee canister that I already was using for composting underneath my kitchen sink. I laid a bed of leaves and things at the bottom, smooshed that down, and then I added in my worms. I had about 5 of them from my big compost, which I had added red wrigglers to like 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. I'm honestly not sure if all of the worms that I put in this bin are actually red wigglers, but I don't know how to tell, so I'm guessing probably some of them are, if not all of them. So the plan is to hopefully test this out to see how it goes, because I want to be able to protect at least some of the worms a little bit better in the winter time. It gets really cold out and I don't want to go out and turn my compost when it's below freezing and there's ice on top of it and it's just this whole big bone thing. It's like enough just to get me out there dumping it in there. But that has had me kind of worried that my worms are potentially dying, essentially, and that's not fun. So the plan is to test this spring/summer, see if I can maybe get the worms to survive, get the worms to propagate, and then maybe dump them back in there, redo everything, and then run the same play during the winter time whenever it's super cold out and the worms could maybe not survive. I don't want them to suffocate. I'll probably have to come in and check on them maybe in about a week or so, just to make sure, maybe sooner than that, maybe give it like 2 or 3 days just to kind of check in on them, make sure that they're still wiggling around. It's kind of cold out here, so they weren't super wiggly to begin with when I pulled them out of the big compost. So anyway, my plan is to keep this underneath my kitchen sink, divert some of my kitchen scraps into this smaller composting bin that has 5 red wigglers, probably red wigglers. They can be overfed, so I'm not going to do all of the compost that I get from my kitchen, because I think that would be too much. I also added some in here, just from the main bin. Some of it already kind of somewhat decomposed, some of it was new from this morning, my banana peel. And the ultimate goal is to keep them alive, help them potentially propagate. That would be nice, because I don't think that they're really surviving super well in the big compost, especially during the winter time. I think it might get a little too cold, and I'm afraid they also might be kind of starving whenever I don't mix up the compost during the winter. Hey, it's better to try something and fail than never to try at all, right? That's the saying. That's how that goes.